Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Serena if you guys are new here, and today we are going through 23 books that I am hoping to read in 2023. If you saw my 22 books in 2022, this is gonna be just like that. A little similar, not the same, and hopefully my mood reader-ness doesn't like severely kick in and I actually get through all of these. So where do we start? I don't have these organized by like genre or anything like that, but I do have the series together, and these are in no particular order. So I'm gonna be giving you guys the title, brief description from the back of the book, and what my rating predictions will be. And then at the end of 2023, I'm curious to see what I think, and if my predictions match the outcome. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first two books that I have in my reach of big pile of books here is the series of Neon Gods, Electric Idol. I don't have Wicked Beauty. It's the only book I don't have in this trilogy. Is that what we're gonna call it? Series. So I will read you guys a little bit of the back of this one because this is the first book, and then Electric Idol is the second book. Okay, so I'm gonna read you guys a little bit of the back of this one. It says, "He was supposed to be a myth, but from the moment I crossed the river Styx and fell under his dark spell, he was quite simply mine." And then it says, "Society darling Persephone Demetrio plans to escape the ultra-modern city of Olympus and start over far from the backstabbing politics of the 13 houses. But all that's ripped away when her mother ambushes her with an engagement to Zeus, the dangerous power behind the glittering city's dark facade." There's more to it, but I don't want to spoil it. And in the back of this one says, "He was the most beautiful man in Olympus and the most deadly. In the ultra-modern city of Olympus, there's always a price to pay. Psyche Demetriou," again, I don't know how to pronounce that, "knew she'd have to face Aphrodite eventually, but never expected her literal heart to be at stake, or for Aphrodite's gorgeous son to be the one ordered to strike the killing blow." Really excited about these. So that's books 1 and 2. Like I said, they're in no particular order, so we'll just keep, my predictions. So I'm predicting this at a 4-star. Usually when I read a series, the first book's always a 4-star because I don't want to like jump too far ahead and give it a 5-star and then like one of the other books was better. So I think this is gonna be a 4 and I think this is gonna be a 5. Bold, but I'm excited to read them. So we'll see when I get to them, but I'd like to read them soon. The next book that I have is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This one was just very intriguing, like the story and the plot line of this one. Okay, so this is another duology. Maybe it's a 3-book series. I know that this is the first book and then Legendary is the second book. I don't know if there's a 3rd book. But the inside says, "Scarlet Dragna has never left the tiny island where she and her sister Tella live with their powerful and cruel father, and now Scarlet's father has arranged a marriage for her, and Scarlet thinks her dream of seeing Caraval, the faraway once-a-year performance where the audience participates in the show, are over." I don't want to read too much more than that, but just like really intrigued by this one. I haven't seen too much of it on Bookstagram or Book Talk, so I want to give it a shot. And my prediction on this one, I think, is going to be 4 or 4.5 stars. I don't know if it'll be 5. I'm not sure. So curious to see what I think of this one. Next, I have these next 2 books are my book club books for January, so I will be getting to them next week. In 5 Years by Rebecca Serrell. I feel like I'm the last person to read this book. It's super thin too. Like I feel like I'm gonna go through it in maybe like 2 days, 3 days at max. I read One Italian Summer by her and I thought it was pretty good. So I'm excited to see and curious to see what I think of this one. So the back says, "Dani Cohen lives her life by the numbers. She is nothing like her lifelong best friend, the wild, whimsical, believes in faith Bella. Her meticulous plan seems to have paid off after she nails the most important job interview of her career and accepts her boyfriend's marriage proposal in one fell swoop. Falling asleep completely content. But when she awakes, she's suddenly in a different apartment with a different ring on her finger and beside a very different man. Dani spends exactly 1 hour, 5 years in the future before she wakes again in her own home in the brink of midnight." So this is another like magical realism, time travel type of read. I think this is going to be, I think it's gonna be like a 4-star. I think it takes place in New York, looking at the cover, so that's gonna be interesting. I think I'll like it more because I know it takes place in New York. I'm just excited to read this. So this is on my January TBR, so I'll have it done when I do my January wrap up, and then we'll talk about it some more. The next book that I have for book club, both of these books are for the book club that I run actually, and because these two were the top two and one won on one app and one on another app, I decided for us to read both because they were both so different. It wasn't like 2 romance or 2 thrillers. It was magical realism and romance. So the next one we're reading is Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino, and this is the cover of it. I heard really good things about this one, which is why I picked it for a book club pick, and a lot of people wanted to read it. So that's why we are reading it. And this one also takes place in New York, I think. I saw a glimpse of NYU. So this one says, a misconnection, a second chance at love. To the green-eyed lovebird, we met 15 years ago, almost to the day, when I moved my stuff into the NYU dorm room next to yours at the senior house. You called us fast friends. I like to think it was more. Okay, so I think this is just like an excerpt from the book. My prediction, I don't know. I actually haven't seen anything about this book until recently, and I heard it was good. It came up as like a book club pick. I think this one's gonna be 3.5 to 4 stars, but I feel like once I read it, I will rank it higher. So that's this. Next, we have Dark Academia, which is honestly like a vibe for me. I don't read too much of it, but I do read it. I think it's like the best thing on the face of the planet. Is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I actually literally just like an hour or so ago, picked the second book in the series as my book of the month pick because it was on there and I really wasn't interested in anything else. So I picked the second book of this. I'm just kind of annoyed because I have the paperback and that's gonna be a hardcover, but it's fine. We do what we gotta do. My prediction on this one, 5 stars. I'm already jumping to 5 stars on this one because I'm just really excited. I've heard great things about it. The back says, the mesmerizing adult debut from Leigh Bardugo, a tale of power, privilege, dark magic, and murder among the Ivy League elite. I'm having a hard time speaking today. I don't know what's going on there, but excited, really excited about this one. I might actually read this one in January too. I haven't decided yet. So that's that one. Then we have a thriller. This one was recommended to me by a bookshop owner on Long Island, and she said it's her favorite one by Ruth Ware. So I picked it up. It's called In a Dark, Dark Wood. And I think I'm gonna read this one either in January or February. I love like a winter thriller moment, and this with, I think it's trees. I'm not sure, but it would make sense if it was trees. Like it just gives a winter vibe. So I am excited to read this one. The back, these are all reviews. Oh, this is the same woman that wrote The Woman in Cabin 10 and One by One. So she's got a lot of thrillers out there. Is there like a little background information? Maybe not. It's all reviews. Yeah, it's all reviews. So I'm not really too sure what it's about, but it was recommended to me, so I picked it up. I think it's also gonna be 5 stars. Thrillers have been hit and miss for me lately because I feel like I'm always trying to figure it out so early. So I'm really hoping that this one like keeps me on my toes. Next, I just picked this up when I was in DC. And I've been seeing it all over TikTok. It's called Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and I've only seen 5-star reviews on this one. I think I'm also going to give it 5 stars. It's really small too, so I think I'll finish it again like in a couple of days, if that. And this one, it says, if you could go back, who would you want to meet? In a small back alley of Tokyo, there is a cafe that has been serving carefully brewed coffee for more than 100 years. Local legend says that this shop offers something else besides coffee, the chance to travel back in time. So this one's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna try not to read this one until I've finished In 5 Years because I like to space out the genres that I read. So I don't wanna read too much like magical realism in 1 month or too much romance in 1 month. I kind of try to spread it out. So this one will probably be February, or if I start In 5 Years in the beginning of January, this will be close to the end of January. I know I keep saying January for all these books, but they're gonna just be read whenever. The next pile that I have another series. I only have the first 2 books. Seems to be a theme. I buy the first 2 and then I see if I like the rest. Is the Shatter Me series. So Shatter Me and Unravel Me. There's also Ignite Me and like 2 or 3 other ones. I'm really excited about this one. I was very intrigued by what I saw on Bookstagram and just the covers in general. They're really pretty. Shadow Me is the first one. Unravel Me is the second one. And the back of this says, no one knows why Juliet's touch is fatal, but the reestablishment has a plan for her. Plan to use her as a weapon. But Juliet has a plan of her own. After a lifetime without freedom, she finally discovering a strength to fight back for the very first time and to find a future with the one boy she thought she'd lost forever. So I think it carries through into the rest of the series. Predictions, I think, again, 4 stars. That's usually my go-to for the first book of a series. And I think this is also going to be 4 stars. I don't want to jump to 5 too soon because there are like 6 or 7 books in this series, but I'm really excited for both of them. Next book that actually, when I posted my 12 books from 12 friends, this was one of the ones that was recommended. And since I already owned it, I'm going to be reading it in 2023. It's Part of Your World by Ami Jimenez. And I really am truly very excited to get into her books because I've heard great things about everything that she writes. So this is going to be like the gateway into the rest of her books. This one, it says, after a wild bet, gourmet grilled cheese sandwich, and a cuddle with the baby goat, Alexis Montgomery has had her world turned upside down. The cause, Daniel Grant, a ridiculously hot carpenter who is 10 years younger than her and as casual as they come, the complete opposite of the sophisticated city girl Alexis, and yet the chemistry is undeniable. I'm very excited to read this one. It's been sitting on my shelf for so long and I just never got to it. So I think I need to prioritize this one. I just feel like every book is a priority right now and I don't know what to pick up first, but maybe this one will be February because it's like Valentine's Day and get all the romance in there. So excited, very excited to read this one. My prediction, either 4.5 or 5 stars. Next, I'm actually starting the audio of this book literally next week is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I have the audio on Libby, but I usually flip back and forth between the audio and the physical book if I can do both. Just because when I'm like running my business and making cups, it's easier to listen to an audiobook than to carve away time to read. So whenever I can, I'm just fully absorbed. What do I think about this one? I read It Ends With Us and I gave it, I think 3.5 stars, I think. So I'm really hoping that this is like 4 stars or 4.5 stars. Yeah, I wasn't the hugest fan of It Ends With Us. I just think I was expecting more because it gets so much hype. I'm really curious about this one. I don't want to go too much into this because you have to read It Ends With Us first, and I don't want to spoil that for anybody that hasn't read it. So my prediction, either 4 or 4.5 stars, or it could be a 3.5 star. Next is another Colleen Hoover book, November 9. I have been wanting to read this book so bad, and again, it's just another one that I literally didn't have time for. So we are starting this one probably in February or March. I had to like plan out my TBR, which I'm trying not to do this year. So I am excited to read this. I've heard great things about it. I like the concept of it. And I'll just read the back. Fallon meets Ben, an aspiring novelist, and the day before her scheduled cross-country move. Their untimely attraction leads to them spending Fallon's last day in LA together, and her eventful life becomes the creative inspiration Ben has always sought for in his novel. Over time, amidst the various relationships and tribulations of their own separate lives, they continue to meet on the same date every year. Predictions, I think this is going to be 5 stars. I'm really hoping it's going to be a 5-star because I haven't read a 5-star Coho book probably since Layla. I think I gave that 5 stars. I may have given it 4.5. But Reminders of Him was also 5 stars. So I'm really hoping this is also 5 stars. Almost there. We have a handful of more left to go. Next, we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Square. Really excited for this one. I've heard great things about Lucy Square, and her books are really thick. This is like 500 pages, I think. Bonus epilogue, that's 555. 557. Jeez. So, let's see, where does the... Okay, so this is the summary. Bearded bad boy Barbara Knox prefers to live his life the way he takes his coffee, alone. Unless you count his basset hound Wayland. Knox doesn't tolerate drama, even when it comes in the form of a stranded runaway bride. Naomi wasn't just running away from her wedding, she was riding to the rescue of her estranged twin to Knockabout, Virginia, a rough around the edges town where disputes are settled the old-fashioned way with fists and beer, usually in that order. I don't know how I feel about this one yet. I feel like my safe prediction is always 4 stars because for me 3 stars is like I didn't love it, I just liked it, but I think I'm gonna like it. I don't know if I'm gonna love it yet, but I hear great things about it, so we'll see. I definitely want to get to this one sooner rather than later though. Then we have Lease on Love, which I actually just picked up. I've picked this up in probably every bookstore I've stepped foot into over the last like 4 months and never purchased it. I purchased it and I'm excited to read it. The back of this one says, after getting passed over for an overdue and much needed promotion, Sadie Green is in desperate need of 3 things: a stiff drink, a new place to live, and a one-night stand. But when an accidental mix-up lands on the doorstep of Jack Thomas's gorgeous Brooklyn brownstone, it's too bad Sadie is more attracted to the impressive real estate than she is the man himself. This one I'm excited for because it also, I almost just dropped it, takes place in New York. If I had to guess, probably 4 stars, 4.5 stars on this one. Yeah, that's my prediction. Next, we have a hockey romance series. Actually, we have 2 hockey romance series. So I'm just gonna do them all in one shot. All of these books are written or co-written by Elle Kennedy. So this series, one is called Him, one is called Us, and I think there's 2 more, or 1 more. This one's co-written by Serena McGowan and Elle Kennedy, so I'm really excited because hockey, Elle Kennedy, need I say more. My predictions, probably 5 stars to be honest. Then the next Elle Kennedy series is the one that we all know. I'll put the first book on top. The Deal series. I have the first 3 books. I think there's another 2 to 3 more after this. So I have The Deal, The Score, This Is the Mistake, and then there's The Goal and The Legacy. So there's 5 books total, and I'm going to inhale these in January and February because it's hockey season, so I'm trying to get all my hockey romances read and out of the way. Last couple of books. This is another series, and then I'll do some more individuals. These books. The Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I honestly think when I go to read these 2 books, will probably be the only 2 books that I read that month, if I'm being quite honest. The 2 of them together are probably like 1,600 pages easily. This one's 801, $7.99. So yeah, about 1,600 pages. I will probably end up purchasing the audios of these 2 because like when I'm in the car and when I'm working on orders, like these are just really big, really big. My predictions, 5 stars on both of them. I hear there's a lot of world building in the first one, so I don't want that to deter me from the rest of the book because I know in fantasy reads there has to be a lot of world building so you get the vibe of what's going on. But I like that she took fantasy and put a modern day twist on it. The last 2 books that I have are Kristen Higgins' Pack of the Moon. This one I hear is very emotional and I'm saving it for when I need like to feel something out of a book. The back of it says, every month a letter. That's what Lauren decides to leave her husband when she finds out that she's dying. I'm gonna stop there because I don't want to give like, I feel like if I keep reading it's just gonna give something away. I hear a lot of people like this is a very emotional read for them, so I'm gonna kind of wait on this one to see how I'm feeling because I sometimes need a book that makes me cry. So that'll be this book. The last book, which I'm definitely reading in January because it is actually a library book, is Tom Felton's autobiography, I think, or just like the book that he wrote. So it says Beyond the Wand is the title, and I don't rate nonfiction, but I know this is gonna be fantastic because I am in my Harry Potter era, so just reading this is gonna be really cool. I can't wait to hear about the behind the scenes of Harry Potter and like his experience and all that stuff. So it's gonna be great. I'm gonna pick this up next week too. And that's it. That's book number 23. So we have a lot of variety here, which is what I try to go for when I'm picking the books that I know for sure I want to read during a year or during a month. It's a lot of romance, a lot of magical realism, fantasy, dystopian, a little bit of everything. Only 1 thriller, I think, possibly 2, but I'm not limited to these books. I will probably read another 40 books on top of these 23. So there's definitely gonna be a lot more thrillers and romance and just all the things. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm hoping to make sure that I get all of these in this year compared to my 2022 video. If you haven't seen that, I will link it up here or up here so that you guys can go watch that as well. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're reading in the comments below. If we have anything similar on our TBRs for the year, definitely let me know. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video with me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.